PMI RMP Reinforcement module. So finally, after many hours of hard work and study, we've come to the end of the course. Without even realizing it, you have learned about a wide range of risk management topics, processes, and what must seem like an endless supply of risk management tools. By now, you should have a good understanding of the overall risk management methodology. If applied properly, this framework is very effective. This course does not just prepare you for the PMI RMP exam, the concepts are valid for being applied in your existing projects too. So here's the big goal. First, pass the PMI RMP examination, and then find the gaps in your current projects to make substantial differences in the way your projects are executed. Remember, there is proactive and then there is reactive. This is the difference between making some tasks less or more expensive. In my own personal opinion, this is also the difference between working hard and working smart. Now that you have gone through the course, let's re-examine the example we used at the beginning of the course. I'm sure this feels like a long time ago, so I will recap the example and then elaborate. Recollecting the example defined in the engagement module. On August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina came ashore in Louisiana. Approximately 1,830 people died as a result of flooding, building collapses, crime, and other incidences directly related to the event. Insured property damage was estimated to be near $60 billion. One of the success stories that emerged from this disaster concerned the evacuation of the River Oaks Hospital. The staff had to evacuate 105 patients and employees before Hurricane Katrina came ashore. They had to do it without causing injuries to anyone, and they were successful. Now, let us review this example in greater detail and see what risk elements from the course were involved. First, the hospital administrators had a sound risk plan. When patient and employee life is at stake, you cannot leave much to chance. The only way this can work is with a clearly defined plan that everyone agrees to. Next, after determining the appropriate plan, the hospital team identified the risk of a hurricane, and there would be plenty of statistical and historical data to support this threat. After that, it would have been a simple matter to qualify the risk with a probability and impact matrix. I bet that the possibility is low for most of the year, and it would increase when moving to the hurricane season. This clearly demonstrates the need to iteratively address risk on your projects. Once qualified as a high-impact risk, it had to be quantified. Can you imagine the impact to a hospital's operations if a hurricane came to town? Imagine the patients who might sustain further injuries or the employees who could be hurt. The legal and financial liabilities would be tremendous. This type of impact would certainly demand a sound response plan, which they created. They responded by moving everyone to a new location. But this is not the end of the story. Stop and think for a moment. What would it take to move more than 100 people hundreds of miles to avoid a hurricane? You would need enough transport to do this, and some of the patients would be requiring an ambulance. You would need enough drivers for those vehicles, fuel for the transport, appropriate insurance, a suitable location to move to, personnel ready to receive everyone, and enough food, water, and clothing to sustain everyone for the time they are at the new location. And at some point, you would need to take everyone back. These are just a few of the response requirements, and I am sure there were many others. Finally, the hospital staff had to review each plan and adjust it accordingly as the hurricane abruptly shifts and the variables change. The hurricane season varies each year as well, so each corresponding plan should be adjusted to incorporate new locations out of the potential impact path of the hurricane. This is an excellent example of how to effectively apply sound risk management methodology, and it is just one of many that can be found in your everyday life. We assess risk every time we pull up to a stop sign or drive through an intersection. The only real difference is in the development of a risk plan and following the processes afterwards. Reinforce the key learning areas at a course level. This course has addressed many areas, and they are as follows: risk terms and phrases, the concepts, inputs, tools, and outputs of plan risk management, the concepts, inputs, tools, and outputs of identify risks, the concepts, inputs, tools, and outputs of perform qualitative risk analysis, the impact assessment using the probability and impact matrix, which should be understood in great detail, the concepts, inputs, tools, and outputs of perform quantitative analysis, the concepts of expected monetary value and decision trees, which you must grasp well. the concepts, inputs, tools, and outputs of planned risk responses, the differences between responses for threats and opportunities, the concepts, inputs, tools, and outputs of control risks, the basic risk management methodology that will be applied on your projects. In summary, there are 6 risk management processes that must be understood to ensure you pass the PMI RMP examination. There are many supporting terms, phrases, and concepts which, when remembered, will make this a fairly easy task. Good luck, and remember to study well.